pleasure to be here. I'm still trying to understand this working 35 hours thing. In the United States, I've never worked 35 hours, and certainly in McKinsey, I've never worked that little. But anyways, I look forward to learning more about how to make workers work only 35 hours. Um, I'm Scott Beardsley, the Dean of the University of Virginia Darden School of Business, which is the graduate school of business at the University of Virginia. We're located near Washington, D.C., just to the west of Washington, D.C., and our university was founded by Thomas Jefferson, the founder of the United States, about 200 years ago. We offer degree programs such as the MBA and also the Master of Science in Business Analytics in addition to the PhD program. We also have executive education programs and lifelong learning for people and organizations, both online and also in person. We value our work and our relationship with China as one of the most important economies in the world, and we have an office right here in Shanghai. Each year, we bring our students to China to study, and we also enroll many outstanding Chinese students at Darden. The University of Virginia has about 240,000 alumni, and 16,000 of those alumni come from our school, the Darden School. Several hundred of our alumni from Darden live and work here in China in top companies such as Tencent, Alibaba, Ctrip, McKinsey, or JP Morgan Chase, or Bain, or many other companies. And it's really incredible and exciting to see all the talent and energy here in China and the progress of this country. In my 26 years at McKinsey, where I had the privilege to serve on the board of directors before I moved over to be the Dean of Darden in 2015, I actually had many opportunities to work in China. And first time I came here was in 1995, and many times thereafter, and primarily I worked in areas such as broadband technology, mobile communications, telecom deregulation, and privatization, basically all the technology issues. And the transformation I've witnessed since I started working here in China in 1995 is truly impressive. And that sort of transformation requires a lot of talent development. So at this conference, I think it's fair to ask, is the talent that has allowed humans to flourish up to this point in history the same that will lead us into the future? And will the regulations, industry structure, and rules of the game that have emerged and help to enable the current situation that we enjoy, will they remain the same and be stable? Or will they be fundamentally rethought? Let me talk to you about technology and global trends. And let me start by telling you what I am not. I am not a futurist with a crystal ball, and it would be disingenuous of me to suggest that I know everything that will happen tomorrow in the fast-moving world of technology and artificial intelligence. I don't know everything, that's for sure. But that being said, I do think it's critical to engage with the topic, and we do so in a variety of different ways at my university in our role as educators of the future leaders of this world. Our professors are working to make sense of the rapid disruption and to understand our increasingly dependent technology future, or technology dependent. Our mission at Darden is to inspire responsible global leaders, and AI is a key topic that all leaders must consider and grasp. How will you and other leaders in your organizations navigate this disruption to help your company survive and thrive? How can this technology be used or not to create value? If Moore's law, which is the notion that the capability of computers can be expected to double roughly every year,
holds, computers will be between 100,000 and 1 million times more powerful today than today 20 years from now. So think about that. 20 years from now, it might be 1 million times more powerful. Think about the devices you have today in your pocket. Imagine this 1 million times more powerful. Imagine the technology behind Alibaba and Tencent that powers Huawei or Apple devices, and speech recognition software being 1 million times better than today. How much smarter do you think humans will be 20 years from now? Will we be 1 million times smarter? Machines are rising. Artificial intelligence and distributed neural networks are disrupting and reshaping many industries and even society itself. Self-driving cars, precision medicine, robots, virtual reality, cybersecurity, data wars, and whole new forms of learning are emerging, much like the science fiction movies that we watch or watched many years ago. It's actually happening. But what are the rules going to be? If you are in a self-driving car and there is an accident, whose responsibility is it? Who are you going to attack and say, I had an accident, I was injured? Whose fault is it? The software programmer who programs the car, what does he or she decide the decision rule is? In traffic, do you kill the passenger or do you kill someone else on the street? Who decides? It's artificial intelligence. Regulations and laws are lagging. They're behind the technology innovation. There's going to be all kinds of second-order effects, such as taxation of robots, protectionism, questioning of capitalism, and changing rules to protect certain categories of people and even national interests. So where are we now with artificial intelligence, and how do we think of it as global leaders? We all know the consumer-facing name-brand technologies we have invited into our pockets and homes, such as Apple's Siri, or Amazon's Alexa, or Tencent's Xiaowei. Those technologies are fascinating and productive, but how do you feel about having all of your conversations all day long in your bedroom or in your kitchen or in your workplace recorded via a microphone? How do you feel about that? Of course, the AI landscape is much more diverse than just having those pocket assistants. Indeed, today's machine learning algorithms determine a number of corporate decisions. One Darden professor, who's an economist and AI thought leader, Anton Kornek, points out that technology is no longer just a decision support tool for decision makers. Mr. Kornek, who served as a visiting scholar at the International Monetary Fund and also the World Bank, says that increasingly artificial intelligent agents are the decision makers. They are making decisions. And those agents, which are essentially computer systems in various forms, are capable of autonomous behavior, the ability to sense the environment and then to use knowledge to achieve goals. But we would be remiss, we would make a mistake if we think those goals may always be the ones that a human has directed or programmed. In other words, the computer may make their own decision. And given the manner in which those agents are woven throughout society and corporations, thinkers on the subject, like Professor Kornek, believe that they are on the verge of becoming stakeholders in their own right, with implications most of us have never even thought of. Should machines have rights? Or should the rights be limited or unlimited? Interesting. When we no longer fully control the technology at our fingertips, and when the technology has the metaphorical seat at the boardroom table, what does that mean? when intelligent machines begin to outperform humans at so many of the tasks we once believed made us so special, what does that mean for the millions of workers whose services can suddenly be replaced? Given that our planet, our world, is controlled by humans, how will politicians respond to the needs of their citizens? This will be very interesting. The World Economic Forum, their 2018 Future of Jobs report predicts that 42% of existing work, task hours, as they define it, will be performed by machines in 2022, up from 29%. Nearly half of the world's work will be performed by machines by the time today's students are looking for a job. In some ways, that's a little bit scary to think about. Jobs that require distinctively human skills, managers, talent development, etc., however, are going to continue to rise. So what will society's responsibility be for those displaced by the rise of artificially intelligent beings? How will it change our world if we continue to see vast sums of wealth concentrated among many of those who have devised the artificially intelligent algorithms controlling so many aspects of our life? Is it going to be okay? Let me talk about the US for a minute. In the United States, the concentration of wealth and power in a few technology companies is unprecedented. We've never seen this before. The combined market capitalizations of the big 5 USA tech companies is now worth more than $4 trillion US. In China, the equivalent big 5 are worth more than $1.3 trillion and also growing. These numbers are huge. They're so big, most people cannot understand how big these numbers are. And at least in the United States of America, this concentration of wealth and power is becoming a political issue. In fact, the United States Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission have just opened antitrust investigations on companies such as Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Apple. And numerous presidential candidates are raising issues from privacy to patent law to accounting and taxation to industry structure and monopolies on the one hand, to workforce development and national security on the other hand. This is a presidential election in the US issue. So clearly there is going to be a moving social contract. Companies and policymakers are going to have to carefully consider what problem they are trying to solve with the technology. Let's take a look at what's happening at the company and at the individual level. So within organizations, Darden professor Ed Hess is a thought leader on human excellence in the smart machine age. He's among those who believe that the key to competing and perhaps retaining the upper hand in our technology future will involve leaning into our humanity, excelling at the types of thinking and the emotional skills that AI won't be able to do well. I believe there's a lot of wisdom in this, emotional intelligence. As AI transforms organizations and smart technology becomes infused into nearly every business function, operational execution is likely to become commoditized. The smart machine will always be able to work faster, longer, and more efficiently. So, to Mr. Phan's earlier point, it will be 24/7, 365. They will work all the time. Humans cannot do that, is for sure. Instead, innovation and human performance will drive value creation and differentiate organizations of the future. Organizations that know how to tap into this those that are built to continuously innovate and to adapt through experimental learning will be best positioned to thrive. That means trial and error. The demands of today and especially tomorrow will reward the agile and the adaptive. And while employment dislocations are inevitable, humans and humanity will simultaneously be more important than ever to the health of organizations. In other words, organizations are always going to have people in them. Humans must excel at things machines currently can't excel at. And that means especially critical, innovative, and creative thinking that has high emotional engagement. Tomorrow's organizations are going to require leaders with special skills. The effective leader of tomorrow will know what he or she doesn't know, and they will learn how to harness the power of the machine. Leaders will not be all-knowing, elitist, or self-absorbed, but they will enable their organizations to be humble in the face of a volatile and rapidly changing world. Leaders will ask questions. They will gain the trust of their organizations through true servant leadership, enabling and inspiring the cognitive performance from their workers that will be needed to excel in the age of artificial intelligence. And while these are not entirely new leadership principles, you might argue that humility and servant leadership have been best practices for corporate leadership for many generations. But leaders who become too enamored of their own abilities or know-how seem destined to fail in the age of artificial intelligence, which is changing so fast. So if we accept these concepts, and I generally do, you can imagine the ramifications at an educational institution like the University of Virginia Darden School of Business, where we help to develop the future leaders for business. And we are clear-eyed about the challenges and innovation needed to teach students in the MBA, the MSBA, and executive education programs. At a practical level, you're seeing more training for technology jobs. About 1/5 of our students go work directly for tech companies, but almost all of our students work for companies that have a very high technology component. Every job is pretty much has tech in it. Ag tech, fintech, everything tech. So our students are ready to deal with technology content. In the United States, we are also seeing technology growth in many places outside of Silicon Valley. It's not only Silicon Valley that innovates in the United States. That is a mirage. This is absolutely not true. There are many other places like Nashville, Tennessee, Texas, Northern Virginia, where Amazon just located their second headquarters right next to Darden, Boston, Chicago, Charlotte, many other cities have so many startups. In fact, the fastest growing venture capital city in the United States in 2015 was Charlottesville, Virginia, where we are. Fastest percentage growth. Not the biggest, but very high growth rates. And that's because the cost of doing business in California is so high. The cost of living is so high. You think Shanghai is expensive? Go to California. Globally, we should note the rise of global technology ecosystems in places like Bangalore and Shenzhen, and also the disruption and change taking place in Nairobi or Lagos. Technology innovation in areas such as artificial intelligence is clearly global. And how countries decide to regulate it and influence industry structure and ownership will be a key strategic variable for years to come. And in that context, I think that lifelong learning is going to become important. If you think about all the changes, you're going to need to reskill yourself throughout your life. Most people are working until they're 70, so the ability to learn throughout your life and not just get a degree when you're 22 years old is going to become far more important. And technology is enabling lifelong learning, just-in-time learning, where you can take classes from anywhere in the world on any subject you want at any moment in time. And many of these courses are even free or can be audited, or they can lead to a degree. And hundreds of millions of people are still connecting to the internet for the first time every year. So we are still seeing a lot of humanity joining the internet and connecting themselves to the opportunity of artificial intelligence and technology. And we are focused on our role that we can play in extending education there throughout their life. And organizations are also going to need to invest in how they help their workforce retool their skill set. On an individual leader, you're going to have new skills yourself, and you're going to have to help the other people that you are leading get their skills. So I would encourage you to engage with the University of Virginia and the Darden School of Business. You're always welcome to visit us in our Shanghai office in the French Quarter, or in the United States near our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We offer lots of different ways that you can learn, either with degree programs or with lifelong learning options. And I believe that with the disruption ahead, and we're just starting to see the beginning of disruption, we are nowhere near the end of it, that through partnerships between organizations, educational institutions, individual leaders, and society, that we will be able to thrive in the world of disruption. So with that, thank you very much for having me at your conference. Good luck for the next coming days. I think it's great that you're having Europe, the United States, and China discussing these issues. I myself am a European citizen from France, in addition to being American and working in China. I think this is a great forum. Thank you very much for inviting me.